Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So welcome back to this Bhakti-vaibhava session. Today we will begin with a new chapter, chapter 8. What it is entitled as? Prayers of Queen Kunti. Yes, thank you. And Parikshit saved. So now this chapter is a special chapter. We will just see the pure devotional outpour of Queen Kunti, how she is expressing a devotion to Krishna, and we will see again and again in the Srimad Bhagavatam these devotional outpours of pure devotees and the aspects of pure devotion. We will be seeing that, and also as we discussed in the previous chapter, after Ashwatthama's jewel was removed from the forehead and he was sent. We see that the rest of the Pandavas, they went to do the final oblations and then they departed. So Krishna thought that he thought of leaving to Dwaraka. So that was the situation. And the chapter opens up with this scene. So what we have done is we have done a small breakup of this chapter. We will get into that. How we have approached this chapter. We will deal with that. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vaibhava Swamini Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So what we have done is the first 16 verses of this chapter, we can see the incident where Lord Krishna is again coming to rescue his devotees. That's the main highlight of this first 16 verses. So we see that the Pandavas are lamenting, and Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, along with other rishis, they are trying to pacify the Pandavas. Meanwhile, there is a problem on hand. Uddhava is in trouble after Ashwatthama having released the Brahmastra, and no one is there to protect. There is no shelter. Krishna gives shelter. Krishna protects the situation, and then the scene unfolds. So we will come back to this after we finish this first 16 verses. Thereafter the Pandavas, text 1, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had decided, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. Having greatly lamented over them and offered Ganges water, they again bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaja Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. There are some interesting points in the purport. Srila Prabhupada, he cites. So the point is that there is whatever that is happening in this material world, actually it is a plan of the Lord. Certain things that happens is we get immediate reactions for whatever pious or impious activity, whatever that we do, we get reactions for that. And when we get trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, or when we are trained in the practice of devotion, we tend to look at this world through what? Yes, through the eyes of the scriptures, Shastra Chakshu. Then we will be able to handle the various situations we are being put into. And we accept that whatever that is happening to our life, we ourselves did a mess, and because of that we are facing reactions. But when we start engaging in devotional service of the Lord, then the heavy reactions that we are actually supposed to face, it actually becomes reduced by the mercy of the Lord. That's the proper worldview of a devotee. So Prabhupada, in this regard, he makes a note of it. As long as we are in the material world, our duty is to follow the orders of the Lord. And if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. Prabhupada further says, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory and material energy, we accept this spot life of only a few years as our permanent existence, and thus become illusioned by possessing so-called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc., which are false representations created by Maya. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another or protect these false possessions. The conditioned soul becomes completely bewildered. He gets a particular position, he gets a particular post, he gets a particular name, fame, glories, and then he is completely captivated, and then he thinks that to be the permanent situation. We can see in this material world, there are so many people who are thinking that without me nothing can happen. This world will not run, this particular state cannot operate, this industry cannot run, that cannot happen, this cannot happen, I am in the center. There's one French philosopher, he said that graveyards are full of indispensable men. Indispensable men means, you see in the graveyards, so many, what is in the graveyard? Dead bodies are there. All those people, before what they said, without me the world will not run. I am required, I am the person, without me nothing will happen. There was one chief minister in Tamil Nadu. She had been in power for quite some time. She was trying to control. Where is she now? Where did she go? What happened to her? Still, everything is going on. Everything is happening. So many times we just put heavy burden on ourselves and think that without me nothing will happen. Everything is just going under the will of the Supreme Lord. And a devotee knows this, and he acts as an instrument in the Lord's service. But when a person doesn't know that, when he thinks kartaham iti manyate, when he thinks that he is the karta, he is the actual doer, then all the problems, he has to face all the problems. What's that saying in Hindi? Aaj ka raja, kal ka kuta. They say that, isn't it? A fellow, you might have been a big king. Who knows, next lifetime you may be born a dog. You might have done some mess. Done some mess means you didn't really act piously. You didn't do a proper job, and you may be born as a dog. Well, in fact, I think one astrologer, he said, one of the Prime Minister of India, he said that, I don't mention the name, but you can figure it out yourself, that he might be born as a dog in the next life, he said, because he was a woman hunter. That's one of the problems. Okay. This clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by the association with the Lord's devotees, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depths of the bewildered heart. Oh, this is Prabhupada's beautiful commentary here. He says that what is it that the association of devotees, what impact it creates? It penetrates. What penetrates? The transcendental sound. It penetrates into the depths of the bewildered heart. That's why this hearing is so powerful. All this ignorance are shattered. The sharp words of the sadhu. Okay, so what is the result of that? Thus make one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. That is a summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of stringent material laws, exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age and disease, which are insoluble factors of material existence. Do you understand what Prabhupada is saying at the end? These are insoluble factors of material existence. What does that mean? Good morning, Hare Krishna.
Inevitable.
Yeah, you can say like that also. Insoluble factors. See, soluble, insoluble. Say you put some salt in water. What happens? You see the salt, it gets dissolved. That means it's soluble, it gets dissolved. But after some, you may put whatever, then it becomes, sometimes it becomes saturated. So similarly, what is Prabhupada is saying that this material existence means you cannot escape birth, death, old age, disease. You have to suffer. Because that's the material nature is like that. But still, having got this human form of life, you can make the best use of the bad bargain. Yes. So having got this material body, still use this material body in engaging in Krishna's service. You can purify your existence and go back home, back to God. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. By the association of devotees, this happens, he says. Okay, let's continue. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. So much to learn from this verse. Women cannot be mistreated. Any chaste lady should never be mistreated. Is it only chaste lady? Prabhupada goes on to explain in the purport. In the glorious days or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children and the old men were properly given protection. Okay, before we just proceed, there's one quick question for you. Do you remember someone who messed up with a woman and they saw their disaster in their life? Yes. So he messed up with whom? Sita, yeah, of course. Also, I was just thinking about this Vegavati. That was also there. That background was also there, right? Vegavati cursed him. What is going to happen to you, right? So you can't mess up. So now Prabhupada, he elaborates. The protection of the Brahman. So Prabhupada speaks about how the Vedic culture was, what kind of protection was given and for whom the protection were given and who are those main people who needs to be protected. Very nicely puts it. In the glorious days or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children and old men, so 5 of them, were properly given protection. Prabhupada elaborates. The protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. So how nicely he puts it. The most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. So when the Varnashrama is maintained, then it forms a very favorable atmosphere to practice Krishna consciousness. And Brahmanas are the head of the society. They are the brain. They have to give directions. Why so much respect is given to the Brahmanas? Brahman janati iti Brahmana. He is always fixed in Brahman. He is very dear to the Supreme Lord. Why? Because he helps the people revive their original consciousness. And they are very much devoted in study of the scriptures, and always they are absorbed in transcendence. They are always absorbed in purifying themselves and helping others to purify their existence. So that's their main activity. Patan Patan, Yajan Yajan, Dana Pratigraha. 6 activities of a Brahmana. He studies and he teaches. He performs yajna and teaches yajna to others. He accepts charity and then he gives Dana Pratigraha. So he distributes it. These are the qualities of Brahmana. And they have to be protected. The kings were protecting them before. Now, where are the Brahmanas? Where are the kings? That's why so much mess. There was one time in one temple, after visiting a temple, there were a couple of people, they were making a mockery of the Brahmanas who were doing puja in the temple. They say, they are just rushing to collect money. They are just for the donation. Then another person, both of them, the conversation is happening between both of them. There are 2 people are observing the scene. Another person is saying, well, what about you? You went to the temple and you just put 1 rupee coin. He has so much money. Okay? But when he came in front of the altar, when he came in front of the Lord, he just taking that small 1 rupee coin somewhere and he's just putting it. And so you're saying that you're also miser. You don't want to donate for Krishna. And who is protecting them? Nobody is protecting them. They have to lead their own lives. So this is one, that's true also. And on the other hand, a Brahmana should not depend on anyone. He should depend only on Vishnu. That is also there. So both sides, the degradation has happened. Brahmana also lost his real qualities, and also the kings were supposed to protect the Brahmanas. Also, still we can see Brahmanas were not completely dependent on somebody will give me this, give me that. They were fully dependent on the Lord. They were not expecting anything. In fact, if you give something extra also, whatever is required they will use, other things they will distribute. They are like that. But degradation happened in both ways. That's the problem of the modern age. So previously, and now what happened in the modern age? Nobody is there to take care of them. Nobody is there to protect them. So their children are now studying Vedas. They themselves are trying to survive them. It's become like the survival of the fittest. It's a question of great difficulty. So the culture is degraded. So that is gone. That's a problem. So they need to be protected. The culture needs to be protected. So then they will be able to guide the society nicely. So Brahmanas needs to be protected. Second point. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food. Most miraculous form of food. In the previous line, Prabhupada said, scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. Here he says, most miraculous form of food. See, one amazing thing when we just read Prabhupada's books, that what really inspires us is, actually, to explain spiritual things, English is not the best of the language. But still, Prabhupada, he coined so many words, the way he put the sentences, it's really so inspiring. And it's not just from speaking from a scholarly level, it's very devotional how he has expressed many of the way he has put things. It's when you read, it's very unique how he has presented the message of the of Godhead. Okay. That is milk for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. So I think one time Srila Prabhupada, when they were trying to paint Krishna in a very masculine way, or kind of muscular, Prabhupada said that this is the painting of the meat eaters, like that he said. And then once he showed a beautiful painting, traditional painting of Indian painting, he showed, and then he said, this is the painting of what he said, milk, some very nice statement, milk, those who drink milk eaters, something like that he said. Those are meat eaters, these are milk eaters, like they drink milk and their finer tissues are strengthened, and they portray even more beautifully God. So that's the point. So cows have to be protected, and yes, the king has to take care of this. And abominable what is happening now. India is actually every third second or once in 4 seconds there is a cow being slaughtered. 4 seconds or 3 seconds, statistics says. India is supposed to be the Vedic, promote Vedic culture, but the government themselves, they are not able to stop the slaughter, and it's highly sinful. So we are not getting too much into that. We don't have time. Okay. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility and progress of life. Right? So Krishna very much talks about it. Arjuna raises this question in the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada very much elaborates it. Otherwise what happens? Varna Shankara happens. So women needs to be protected. So what are the things? Women needs protection. Women are generally dependent. They have to be guided. Yeah, they are like children, it is said. Children and women needs to be protected. And if they are protected nicely, then the progeny will be proper, and also we see here this verse, why this Prabhupada discussing all these things. Women cannot be exploited. We cannot use them. We cannot, what is happening in the modern days? They are the politicians, the industrialists, so-called all great people in the name of women's equal rights, feminism. What they are doing? They are exploiting the bodies of women. They are just exploiting them like sex machines. That's completely, that is not allowed at all. And people who, when they exploit like this, they are going to get reactions. That's what right in the verse it is said here, isn't it? What happened? Why the entire Mahabharata war? Others also died. The duration of life having decreased for the rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. So the more we are going to mistreat, exploit women, there is going to be suffering for humanity, and they have to be guided. They need to be submissive also. That training has to be given, and in that way the society will prosper. So Prabhupada makes a point. Next point, he says, the protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of beginning a child by the purificatory process of garbhadhana samskara, the beginning of pure life. So, that's the family planning. What is the family planning of the devotees? That is garbhadhana samskara. And as a result, good soul will be invoked. Prabhupada says, the protection of the old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. So this is the point. Nowadays what's happening? So several old age homes are, there is no concept of old age homes before. At least in the last, some 20 years back only, all this idea of this old age home has very much come into the modern era, because the son is working, daughter-in-law is working, both of them are busy, and mother and father have become very much dependable, or sometimes they become invalid also. Who will take care of all those things? And then on top of it, another thing what is happening is, the son and the daughter, they relocate to United States, Australia, Japan, they get settled there, and they just send some money. Some of them they don't send money also, that's another, you can speak so much. So they just send some monthly, some money, and nobody is there to take care of them. So they go to the old age home. In Salem, we along with Gokul Prabhu one time we visited. We went for a program. Actually, it's old age home maintained by the Brahmin society. Most of them in their old age house were Brahmins. When we just met, there were about some 30 couples in that old age home. When we met them, they were all, they were asking. We just did a program. We just did little kirtan, then Gokul Prabhu gave a class. After that, there was some question and answer, and then they requested, can you please, they were all staying in different rooms. They have been allotted. So he said, please come to our room, like that they were calling us. So some of them, we just used the opportunity, gave them japamala, gave them books and like that. And when we go to each and every room, they were all speaking about their story. It's all tragedy story. They say, no, I took so much care of my son, I did this, I did that, I took him to hospital, and I took loan and this and that. Then in the lecture, very nice, Gokul Prabhu made a nice point. He said that actually we give children so many things. We teach them many things. We see that they need to be secured. But we miss to give an important education to them, spiritual education. We just see proper training for the children means you give them both the things. Give them the facility to take care of their body, and give them the most important knowledge to take care of themselves, means to take care of the soul. You have to remind them you are part and parcel of God, you are a servant of God, you are meant to give pleasure to the Lord. That's the goal of life. When we fail to do that, all these repercussions will happen. This is the problem of the modern age. They are just only interested in giving mundane education and social security in that way. That's not going to help in any way. So that's an important aspect. So, and naturally, if you see if someone is a devotee, he will because he will be able to relate to all these things. He will be able to protect the old man. He will take care of women, and he will be very responsible. That's the whole point. Okay, Prabhupada concludes this purport. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. What a nice point Prabhupada is making. This is what is, the modern civilization is just polished cats and dogs. No restriction, nothing, no question of following any dharma. Even now in some traditional families we can see there are arranged marriages. They try to look for match. They do look at the horoscope, see what will be the future. They just don't. It's not just looking at what is the bank balance, what is this fellow's status, what is that fellow's status, but will they be compatible? Will they be able to lead a God-conscious life? All those things were taken into consideration. It was so nowadays no consideration whatsoever. What's that saying? Love is blind, love at first sight, and all those crazy ideas are there. And as a result, we can see so many divorces, so many misunderstandings, so much commotion, fight. Everything is happening. Like the other day, Gokul was explaining that her hair is not good, so divorce. Or his job is very simple. I expected something, but the expectation didn't meet. Within 15 days, divorce. So all these kinds of mess happens because of lack of training in the Vedic culture or lack of training in the spiritual culture, we have to say. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation is shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Shankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. So this is the whole point. If you are going to insult a chaste woman, you will face the reaction. Dushasana, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Okay. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yajnas to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Prabhupada points out in this purport that the Lord is partial to his devotees. He says, he is actually impartial. He is not partial. He is equally distributing his mercy to everyone. But certainly we can say he is also partial to his devotees because the devotees are reciprocating. They acknowledge the Lord. They love the Lord. So naturally, the Lord is also reciprocating to them. Okay. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Okay. Text.
8.
As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwaraka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. That's a very nice analogy. Prabhupada points out here. Text 9. Uttara uvacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyang twadabhayang pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, O Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. Protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. In the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others, and death is inevitable due to the dual existence of matter and spirit. Now, this is a very good reason Prabhupada is giving why there should be death. Because of the dual existence of matter and spirit. The Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. One cannot save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. So what does that mean? Huh? Sorry?
Lord can only free us from...
Yes, that's a good point. Lord can only free us from death. So I also have another question. So what does that mean? So if somebody is surrendered devotee, he will not die. You want death for him?
Death is...
So what do you say about that statement? Someone has become a devotee. So he's not going to die?
Cat and mouse.
He will die, but his death will be...
Yeah, so he will die. Definitely he is also going to leave the body. Yes. And we can say also, when someone is surrendered to the Lord, he is not going to die also, we can say. Because he has come to the awakening state. Actually we are spirit soul. Where is death for the spirit soul? There is no death for the spirit soul. See, we went to one hospital in Vellore. One of our devotees' brother. Because he knows our devotees, but not so much practicing or anything. He's a very favorable person. The whole family, everyone was crying because he's very young. He's just some 25-year-old. And already for 10 days they were doing this chemotherapy for cancer, and they were talking to him. They were explaining, so everything is okay, everything is fine, everything's like that. They were trying to encourage him. He knows he's going to die, and others are all so much worried. Oh, the boy is going to die. We are losing our brother. Like that, there was so much commotion. So when we went to the hospital, Gokul Prabhu he just, hey, you know what? He was just speaking so many different things. He said that, then he was explaining the point that there is no death for you. He was explaining the point that you're not going to die. There's no death. Because that's reality, right? Because we don't have that knowledge. We think we are this body, everything is gone. This body is gone, I am gone, everything is finished. No. We are eternal. We are spirit soul, we are servant of the Lord. We have a blissful life ahead. So in fact, so what is this death? Death is just change of body. We are just, but when a devotee leaves this body, and when he just opens his eyes, he is there with Krishna in the abode, in his eternal service. So that's something for us to learn. Now there is one other point that we can remember here, that Ashwatthama, somebody may question how come Ashwatthama was, he already was injured in a way, the jewel was removed, and it was such a, from where his power, see, once the jewel is removed, he has lost his power. So how is he able to invoke the Brahmastra again? Something to think, right? Everything else, he's lost his power and everything. So the thing is that there are three things he never lost: the knowledge, the kind of envy he had towards the Pandavas, and these two things was just, what to say, it is just like a fire. It is just building up and up and up, and he also has a great revenging attitude towards the Pandavas. So that is why, so the knowledge he had, so he knew how to invoke the Brahmastra. So he used that, whatever little thing he had with him, so he used that. And then, what else he did, he wanted to completely kill the Pandavas. So his target was 5 Pandavas plus Parikshit. That was his, he thought he's a super intelligent person. He will now, until the last breath, he thought he will finish it off and he will do a great work. But Krishna has other plans, and we see that. So, oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. So Uttara is pleading. The mother of a child, this is a very, somebody may question, how can Uttara, there was a problem, now she is asking for help. How is it that? Is it Shuddha Bhakti? So all those questions can be raised. So Prabhupada is addressing it very nicely here. The mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child. And therefore Uttara was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Krishna. Uttara was the daughter of a great king, the wife of a great hero, and student of a great devotee. And later she was the mother of a good king also. So she was fortunate in every respect. And in fact, this is something amazing. We can learn several lessons from this. She was bold enough to take shelter of Krishna. Well, she did not think twice anything else. No, she was just immediately, she called Krishna's name. She was asking for Krishna's help. And Prabhupada gives his reason. How the reason, it is justifiable reason. So the question is, are you not ashamed that you are asking for help? So she says, I am not ashamed because I have to protect a devotee who is inside my womb. So that was her concern. And husband is not there. Husband also died. So who else she can ask for shelter other than the Supreme Lord? Now this is the point. Now what's the problem with the whole world? There are many people in this world who know that when we ask them to take shelter of Krishna, take devotion, practice, they don't want to come forward. They are they come up with some 1,000 reasons. Later, we will see after some time, this is not the right time, we will come later. How many times we have heard this? But we can see the difference between a devotee and a person who is soaked in ignorance. So I was just recently speaking to one of my relatives, some 2 weeks back. So I'm just telling them, please take up this message of Bhagavatam, study Bhagavatam. You just at least theoretically get into it. He said that then, in a very polite and a very nice way, he was just explaining a point that, you know what, this is not the right time for me. I will get the right time. So I couldn't push him further because there is such a message that if you just give an opening hearing to this, your conditioning, your suffering, you'll be able to overcome that. But people sometimes they just get into they close themselves, they put themselves into a shell. My life is gone, nothing can be done, I am hopeless. They think that they are even more powerful than God. Even God cannot do anything, they say. God also cannot do anything. So that's the path. But here you can see on the contrary, immediately, no second thought, immediately taking shelter of Krishna, asking him for help, asking him for protection. So one thing is that we should not be lazy in our endeavor in taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. So we should be very alert, always ready to take steps ahead in trying to serve Krishna. That should be our attitude. And what happens usually, if we don't take steps, then what happens? Then mostly what happens, because of wrong association, we get confused, we are just bewildered. Wrong association means what? When we are in the association of the wrong people, even what is that is meant to be true, we think that to be false. Vishwanath Saraswati Thakur, he points out in his Upakena Upadesha, this amazing incident. He speaks about this Bhagavan Pandit. So how there was a Pandit who was in the court of a king. He was a very nice person, he was very intelligent, always giving very good advice. He was very knowledgeable. So he just visited that kingdom, and then king was very much captivated by that person, and then he was always giving reception to him. He was always spending a lot of time with him. Immediately what happens in the material world, if people immediately become envious, too much association, now let's do something about it. So what they did, they didn't allow him. They made a plan. They just spoke to the soldiers who were in the front line in the court, and then said that this fellow, king already told him not to allow this person to come inside the court, inside the, what do you call? It's not the court. What do you call it? Palace, assembly palace, whatever. So he was stopped, and then later what happened? The king was inquiring, what happened to the minister? What happened to the Pandit? So he died. They just bluffed. And then so he thought, okay, they are not allowing me inside. This Pandit thought they are not allowing me inside. So anyway, definitely the king will come out. He is not going to be always inside. He's going to come out. Let me be in the gardens around somewhere nearby so that I can see him, I can talk to him. So the king came out one time. He came. The ministers were also around with him. And then this Pandit was waving his hands. Please see. I'm here. So the king is not able to recognize. He's not able to see him. So because it was a huge crowd, there were so many people around him. He couldn't see him clearly. So what this Pandit did, he just jumped on the tree. And then again waving, hey, I'm here, please see. Then immediately the minister said, hey, be careful, this Pandit has become now a ghost. Ghost is here. And then king also, he was also completely carried away by the instructions. Yeah, maybe ghost, yes, ghost. So he ran away, he went back to the kingdom. So it's a thing, you are surrounded by all these agnostics, atheists, all blinded men. And when you are led by a blinded man, you will also become blind. That's what is happening in the entire society. So we don't want to take good instructions from the Shastras. Shastras are giving us proper instructions. What should we do? We should these are all mythology, these are all useless books, these are all written by cavemen, all kinds of false propaganda. That's what is literally happening in this modern age, isn't it? That's what is going on. And instead of hearing from pure personalities, we have more faith on politicians, scientists, other atheists and like that. So we need to be careful. So that is required. We should not, at the same time, we should also not be lazy in trying to understand the conclusions of scriptures. We should really be enthusiastic to get the knowledge and then make progress. That's the point. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. Having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life of the Pandavas family. O foremost among the great thinkers, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. Okay, these things we have already heard, that how this Brahmastra can target only the one person, or whatever is you have set as a target it can hit. Prabhupada points out in the purport. And Prabhupada again points out the great devotional aspect here. He says, when the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, he took up his weapon even at the risk of breaking his own vow. So what was his weapon? Yeah, he took his Sudarshan Chakra. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhakti-vaibhava, or the lover of his devotee. And thus he preferred to continue as a Bhakti-vaibhava than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. This is Krishna. So, he is the one who has set up the moral code. He is the one who is behind this dharma. And the most important dharma for Krishna is giving protection to his devotees. So he was happy to save them in this situation. The Lord of the Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uddhava by his personal energy. So there are more details given in upcoming chapters. We will just see that. So what exactly has happened? So when the Brahmastra was released, what happened to the in the Uddhava womb? We will just move to a couple of purports. We will see the situation. Okay. This is Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 8. The Lord was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful, blackish, infallible body, and he wore a garment of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. So in the womb, Parikshit saw this form of the Lord. The Lord was enriched with 4 hands, earrings of molten gold, and eyes blood red with fury. As he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. Text 11. The Lord was thus engaged in vanishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child, who thought about who he was. When thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, and the protector of the righteous, at once disappeared, although he is dressed by all directions and is unlimited by time and space. So from that time, Parikshit was looking for that person whom I saw in the room. He got the name Parikshit. He was just always trying to find, is he that person? Where is that person I saw? So he was just looking for that Supreme Lord. Okay, that's a message from Canto 1. And there is also another nice verse in the 3rd Canto where Vidura, conversation between Uddhava and Vidura. Uddhava is also relating this incident. We will just quickly jump to that. Uttarayam dhrita puror vamsha sad abhimanyona savai draunastra samplushta punar bhagavata dhritaha. The embryo of Puru's descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burned by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord. Okay, Prabhupada writes in the purport, the embryonic body of Parikshit, which was forming after Uttara's impregnation by Abhimanyu, the great hero, was burned by the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, but the second body was given by the Lord within the womb, and thus the descendant of Puru was saved. This incident is a direct proof that the body and the living entity, the spiritual spark, are different. Okay, this is another side point. So, these are all some of the information that the Bhagavatam speaks about this incident. Okay, let's now move to, we are in verse number?
Verse number
17 or 16? 15. Okay. O Shaunaka, glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu. Okay, so the point Prabhupada points out that Krishna did not have to wait for anyone. Just by his power he neutralized everything. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out in the purport. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. So immediately here it is mentioned that these are all it's not something so difficult for the Lord. So easily he performs all these activities. Thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. That was all along the characteristic of the whole family of the Pandavas. They knew nothing except Krishna, and therefore the Lord was also always ready to help them in all respects and in all circumstances. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. One should not therefore look for help from imperfect living beings or demigods, but one should look for all help from Lord Krishna, who is competent to save his devotees. Such a chaste devotee also never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord out of his own accord is always anxious to render it. So both the things are there. For every small thing you ask the Lord to help you. Sometimes there is a saying, sometimes there is a funny saying in Tamil that they say that Krishna enna mattum kaapathu, meaning that the meaning is like this, oh my dear Lord Krishna, just save me alone. This is another, and also for every small thing, Krishna please save me, Krishna please save me, in the sense that something which you have to do some effort also. Nothing you will do, everything you will dump on Krishna. Like Prabhupada also sometimes he says that he tells in some lecture, in one of the lectures he explains this point that that Arjuna was not he was just sitting in a chariot and then he asked Krishna, you please fight, I will just sit and drink hot milk. It was not like that. Arjuna, he took endeavors, he really fought, he depended on Krishna, and that was his glory. So not that Krishna has to do everything for us. Gokul Prabhu used to say that now we have to build this temple and then I will just sit here patiently, and Krishna, it's all everything is possible by you. There was one donor, he came and then he said like this, he said, don't worry, Krishna will take care of everything. Everything he will take care of. He knows what to give, when to give, what to do, everything he knows. Before even we can ask him for some donation, immediately this dialogue he was speaking all these things. Anyway, so the point is that we should not be like this. We should be depending on Krishna. We should be ready to take help from Krishna, and we should most importantly, we should be ready to follow his instructions and take his shelter and then fight for Krishna. This is our philosophy. So we will discuss about this more as the Kunti's prayers progress. And I'll just stop here. If you have any quick question, you can take before we break. Quick question, comment, realization. Yes.
Previously, temples were run by kings.
They were maybe there may be a. Okay, the question is where the kings responsible for the maintenance of the temple. Mostly it was like that, and maybe there may be some minister or someone will be in charge who will take care of the temples and like that. Yeah, it was like that. Yes. For example, we can take just the example of Jagannath Puri, how Bhakti-vaibhava Thakur was. He took the lead in maintaining the temple and taking care of. Even in Jagannath Puri temple, Bhakti-vaibhava Thakur was, even during his period, he was kind of like the chairman for the maintenance of the temple. And also we hear many stories where the kings of the temple, Jagannath Puri temple, how they were maintaining. There was an incident. The other day we were discussing about that incident. Remember that incident of Jayadev Goswami, when we saw the life history of Jayadev Goswami, where there was a gardener. When Jagannath's dress was, it was a little dirty and it was a little shrinked, and they was wondering what is happening, and the Pandavas were really scared because they knew that they didn't do any mess, their decoration, everything was good. So obviously they were maintaining it, and that's the point. They took care of the temple, they took care of the worship, they took care of the brahmanas, and so they were focused in their puja and in their study and like that, and they were also preaching Krishna consciousness. Anything you wanted to say?
Since
Yeah.
king cannot come and see all the affairs, was someone appointed in the
Obviously, there will be a representative who will be reporting to the king. Definitely, the king may not come and look into every small thing. There will definitely be a crew. There will be a team. There will, in fact, it may have many subdivisions and like that. There should be some hierarchy by which they would have operated. That's for sure. And also, sometimes he may personally come and see also. That's also there.
He will be a Kshatriya or a Brahmana.
Who is being appointed?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be. It will definitely be someone from the administrative class who will be taking care of that. It could be a Kshatriya as well, and there will be a team of people who will be working under him. Finally, they will be getting the reports, and then they will be dealing with that. Obviously, someone who has a managerial capacity, they will be dealing with that. So it could be a Kshatriya as well, pretty much. So this is the situation now. Mother Kunti, so she saw that Krishna was ready to leave, and Krishna also wanted to leave for Dwaraka, but having seen the situation, he helped Uttara, and Krishna was about to leave. Now Kunti, she is out of great affection and love she has for the Lord, she started offering prayers. This whole section is very much glorified in the Bhagavatam. Such profound prayers expressing pure devotion. And Krishna also, we can see, was very pleased with the prayers of Queen Kunti. We can see at the end how he reciprocated after hearing those prayers. Pure devotion from the heart of Queen Kunti. He was appreciating it. So we will just begin with the prayers. And also we can see another amazing thing is that why these prayers are in the Bhagavatam. So what are the reasons why this particular prayer of is mentioned in the Bhagavatam? We will see her quality, her chastity, her humility, which are simplicity as well, which was attracting the attention of the Lord. Kunti uvacha namasye purusham twadhyam ishwaram prakrite param alakshyam sarva bhutanam antarbahiravastitam. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything. Yet you are invisible to all. Prabhupada's purport. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Although he was playing the part of her nephew, such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Have you ever seen anybody offering obeisances to nephew? Yeah, usually nobody does it. But here she does it, and she immediately gives a reason why she's doing it. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. She says that, yes, I am offering you obeisances. There is a reason for that, because you are the Namasya Purusham to Adhyam. You are that original personality. You are that Adi Purusha. And a question can be raised that, well, there are so many Purushas. Why me? And then she said, Namasya Purusham Twadhyam. Then she said, you are beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. So there may be many, generally the living entities are all transcendental, because we are not this body, we are spirit soul. The Lord is transcendental, Anandamayo Abhyasa, being his part and parcel, we are also transcendental. So, but what is the speciality then with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna? Because he is beyond the clutches of the material nature. That's what is being pointed out here by Prabhupada. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as a chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. The living entities or the demigods like Indra, Chandra and Surya are also, to some extent, Ishvara. Namasya Purusham Twadhyam. Ishwaram, Prakriti Param. So she says that you are Prakriti Param, you are beyond this Prakriti and you are that original Ishwara actually. So when Prabhupada in the property, that's why he points out, there are several other Ishwaras, some different controllers are there. The living entities are the demigods like Indra, Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishwara, but none of them is the supreme Ishwara. Namasya Purusham Twadhyam Ishwaram Prakriti Param. That Param word, Param Ishwara, he is beyond Prakriti. He is the Parameshwara or the super soul. He is both within and without. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart and only due to me one remembers, forgets and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living entities, is still invisible. Alakshyam Sarva Bhutanam. He is within and without, but still Alakshyam, still is invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her. Yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. This is bewildering. How is that? He's just standing right in front of me. But then you are there right in the womb of Uttara protecting Parikshit. Antar Bahir Avastitam. Still difficult. Kunti herself was puzzled about Sri Krishna. Is all pervasive or localized? Is he all pervasive or localized? In fact, he is both. But he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. This is interesting. That's why we can see that there are so many people who are questioning. Show me God, show me God, show me God. Then I will believe. Where is the question of show me God? What is the qualification you have to see God? Prabhupada many times asked, what is your qualification? Prabhupada he used to say that when somebody has got a cataract, the surgery has to be performed. Then the cataract can be removed, and once the cataract is removed, then you will get the normal vision. This is the problem with the scientists, this is the problem with so many rational thinkers. They think everything in terms of their own understanding, their own limited capacity. And we can see even let's say, any one of you here, have you seen an electron? There are, if you see the atom, if you further divide the atoms into smaller particles, there is electrons, protons, neutrons, and so many things. First of all, can we even see an atom? That itself is not possible. But who will be able to relate to electrons, protons, and neutrons? Who can relate to it? Scientists, physicists. He can relate it because he knows. How can he relate to it? How is he able to understand? Microscope. And he says, okay, I'll give you a microscope. Can you just tomorrow I'm giving you a microscope. Yeah, he has not only knowledge is in some. He has been trained. He's got the knowledge. He knows the art of. He has heard it properly, and he has got the training. A similar incident happened in the during the period of Srila Bhakti-vaibhava Saraswati Thakur. There was one. They were having a 1 month festival in one Gaudiya Math. They were doing a program, a little kind of bringing in big people, giving a talk, and also from Vedic perspective they will give the solutions and for all the different issues. So at the time there were some students who were visiting the program. So they said that there is one big scientist by name Raman. So why can't you invite that person? He's a big person. He may be interested to come. So there was one disciple of Srila Bhakti-vaibhava Saraswati Thakur by name Hayagriv Das Brahmachari. He went to invite this Raman, who was a typical scientist. He's an atheist, doesn't believe in God and all those things. So he said that, can you show me God? What is this? I know what is all these things. I don't believe in all these things he was saying. So then, same arguments was posed by Hayagriv Das Brahmachari. He asked him, so now there was a wall. What is there behind this wall? Can you show me that? What is there behind this wall? So he said that that may not be possible, but you can show what is there behind that wall by using some instruments. So and then he went on posing this question. So even if the instrument is given, can you immediately show it to me? No, there should be a person who should be aware of how to use it, how to find out the how to use it, and you should have the knowledge of trying to figuring it out. So Bhayagriva Brahmachari explained the same thing with the spiritual knowledge also. You need to surrender to a process, bona fide process. You need to get trained from someone, and with that eyes you will be able to see. Otherwise, it's not possible to see. Even we cannot even see. We cannot even see the air. We cannot see the mind. We cannot see the intelligence. So like that. So to see God is not a cheap thing. It is a science by which we can approach. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur often used to quote this verse, Atasri Krishna Namadi Nabhave Grahyam Indriyai Sevon Mukhehi Jigvado Swayam Eva Smratyada. So we will be able to see the Lord only by this service attitude. And that starts with the chanting of the holy names with the tongue. So that's the key point here. Let's look into the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he says like this, Namasye. So same thing, you're saying, I'm your nephew, why are you offering obeisances to me? And then he says, it's like a conversation it goes. He says, oh, you are Purusham. You are Purusha. Then he says, well, so many Purushas are there. Tvam, you are the beginningless. But there are so many Jivas, they are also beginningless. And then he says that, well, but you are Prakrite Purusham Param, you are beyond the Prakriti. And then he says that, but you are Alakshyam, Alakshyam Sarva Bhutanam. It's not so easily we can see you. Well, why we cannot see the Lord easily? Now this is very interesting in the furthermore discussion. So this is a general discussion on that. There is some points that I would like to discuss here, which is being covered in the next verse. Why we are not, he is inside, he is outside, right? The Lord is inside and the Lord outside. So we should be able to see him. Why we are not able to see him? Yeah, Maya Javani Kachana. The answer is there in the next verse. But then what Prabhupada in the Parpati is addressing this point, if you have carefully noted.
Yoga Maya. Lord is having the right
not to show him himself. True. So another point, straight point Prabhupada is addressing. Yes, that's one point. Yes, because
he controls limited vision of every soul.
He controls the limited vision of every soul. So why? That's another reason. Then another, what other aspect? So he controls the vision of the soul. He's covering himself with his own energy, not allowing others to see. What other? Why a conditioned soul is not able to see the Lord?
Because even devotees are puzzled.
Devotees are puzzled. They are bewildered with dual actions. But I'm specifically speaking about conditioned souls. But actually, in one, yes, I'm coming back to that. There's also another. Actually, Kunti is saying. Kunti is expressing her ecstasy. That is also there. It's not that Kunti saw the Lord in front and she's glorifying. That is also there. But again, this duality, this is the inconceivable potency of the Lord, that he is right inside the womb of Uttara and he is also present right in front of Kunti. So how to understand that? So that is bewildering, she is saying. That's the correct point. But the point is, why the conditioned souls cannot see the Lord? Why someone else, anybody cannot see the Lord? What's the point you said? Attitude. Because his mood are fool. Why he is a fool? That's a good point.
He is not studying Vedas. He doesn't know Vedas.
He doesn't study Vedas. Okay, we can keep discussing for another 1 hour. But the point is, okay, let's get close to this. What do you want to say?
He is not willing to serve the Lord.
He has come very close now. Yes, he's a Muda. Why he's a Muda? Because he doesn't want to serve the Lord. He's not surrendered. That's why we discuss this verse, Atha Sri Krishna Namadi. Unless we surrender, we cannot see the Lord. Not that of our own wish we can see him. This is the whole point. And you are seeing that in return we are not surrendered. Okay. The point is that I was just thinking about this, and then I was just thinking why we are not surrendered. Because we are covered by different degrees of ignorance. Isn't it? What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So we are being covered by the lust. So what are the 3 coverings of the lust? Dhumena. Yes. Etol Bhena. So 3 coverings are there. One is a covering. You can take a mirror. Mirror, when it is dusty mirror, you can just imagine, when you have a dusty mirror, which is a little common in some of our rooms. Hey, I don't have a mirror. Well, you don't have a mirror. I gave you a mirror. It's been 1 year. We have kept it. No, mirror is not there. How will you be able to find out where the mirror is? Because the mirror is so dusty, you cannot even identify that it is a mirror. But if you just take the mirror and then you clean it, then you can see the mirror is there. Mirror has become so dusty. So that's one covering. Then another example, what the Gita says, fire and the smoke, isn't it? And then the third covering is the embryo, which is inside the womb. So degrees of covering. The more we are covered, the more we are away from the Lord. So, and now in the next verse, she speaks about this covering. Text 19. Since internally you protected the child in the womb of Uttara and externally you protect us by being near us, should I understand that you are all pervading? I do not know. Vishwanath says this. So Kunti is questioning like this. Now, Kunti is now glorifying the Lord. Maya javanika channam agnya dokshajam avyayam nalakshyase mudadrisha nato natyadharo yata. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Maya javanika chanam. The screen is there right in front. So the screen is not allowing us to see the Lord. And also the Lord is, who are we? Just, why the Lord should show himself to us? There is no need for him to show. The Lord out of his own free will, he will show himself. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavritah mudoyam nabi jhanati loko mam ajam avyayam. This is what Krishna says. No, mudoyam nabi jhanati. I don't show myself to the fools. The fools cannot know me. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Because of yoga maya, he covers himself. Okay, now let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. Do you remember some less intelligent persons who thought Krishna to be an ordinary person? Kamsa, Duryodhana, Shishupala, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, all of them, they thought he's some. And then in the modern age, there are so many politicians, so many poets, many kinds of scientists, atheists, even so-called followers of the Vedas, the Mayavadis. They all deride Krishna's existence. They think Krishna, there is, what do they say? Krishna is a historical person. Then they say that he is, actually does not have a form. He's under the, under the control of illusion. So many misconceptions they have about Krishna. They project their own ideas on Krishna. So like that. So that's what Prabhupada is pointing out here. The asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. When the Lord himself appears amongst us as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, or in his original form as Krishna, he performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. So that's why you see Varaha, they just see him as some boar, and they think that what is this Nrsimha, half man, half lion, what is this? So much offenses. They have several misconceptions, and they try to relate like that. But the Lord, we can see, performs amazing activities, wonderful, exceptional activities he is performing. Immediately it puts anybody who is common, who is little normal, can understand that, oh, this is not humanly possible. These activities are not humanly possible. As the Lord Ramachandra, he threw the stone, the stones were floating on the water. As Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, as a very small boy, he lifted the Govardhana with his left hand, small finger. Who can do that? So all these activities the Lord is performing, which are inhuman, but still the agnostics and the atheists, are, put it in simple terms, asuras cannot recognize it. Prabhupada is pointing out that. He killed the Putana, which, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhana hill just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavana. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Puranas, Itihasas and Upanishads. So the Lord is also being accepted by all great personalities. So Prabhupada gives a big list of all great personalities, starting from Vyasa to the current Acharya, Srila Bhakti-vaibhava Saraswati Thakur, and we can say Bhakti-vaibhava Swami Prabhupada. So up to all these great personalities, they have all accepted the authority of the Supreme Lord based on Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And on that authority, we also accept His supremacy. So Prabhupada said, this is... and yet, after having all these great personalities have given their authority over this Lord, Prabhupada points out, and yet there is a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna even when he was present before them. Duryodhana was a typical example. When Lord showed even this partial Vishwarup, he said that it's all some magical feat, and he rejected it. Such a rascaldom actually. And Prabhupada points out that these people, what is another major problem? They often, they depend on what? They depend on their blunt senses. Prabhupada points out here in this verse, Maya Javanika Channam Agnya Dokshajam Avyayam. Agnya Adokshajam. So, Ada Akshaja. So, whatever knowledge you get from, you try to derive try to derive from our senses. Ada Akshaja. Ada means it doesn't, the knowledge, you don't get the proper knowledge, it just puts it down, it goes down. The knowledge goes, it doesn't stay, it doesn't get revealed, the reality. So here, he is described herein as Adokshaja, or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. Here, Prabhupada points out, Queen Kunti accepts this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially of the woman class who are less intelligent. For less intelligent men, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about Him from authorities in such holy places. For less intelligent men, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. So Prabhupada here points out that that some people think that this temple worship and this bhakti, puja, all these things are for women. They are simple-hearted and they are simple. So it's not for these men. We have become really intellectuals. We have become great. We have advanced. So one Prime Minister of India, if you remember, he made a remark. So what are our future temples? Factories and industries are our actual temples. This is called as the how to systematically introduce the demoniac culture in India. That's how it started. So it's very abominable. But Prabhupada here is saying that these temples, the worship, it is an opening for the human being to come into sanity. You become sane by worshipping the Lord in the temple, worshipping Archa Vigraha. And Prabhupada says it is very much essential for all the less intelligent men. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon Him by active service. So beginning by bowing down, we start our spiritual life. We can also see here even a great personality like Queen Kunti. What she begins the prayer by offering obeisances. First bow down. Let's speak about everything else later. First you bow down, accept the authority of the Lord. We can see in all prayers, First, the devotee expresses his devotion by offering obeisances. It's a proper mood. Okay, we will see the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, "You are covered by the curtain of Maya." So then he's questioning, then Maya covers me? Then he says, it is like a fool who thinks that the sun is covered by a cloud. So we can see, many times we say, oh, the sun is covered, cloud has covered the sun. You fool, cloud cannot cover the sun. It can cover our vision. But it appears like that, right? Oh, the sun is gone, it is covered. So he says that. So you are beyond sense knowledge. Sense knowledge is situated below you, adaha. I do not have the power to contact you since my knowledge arises from my senses, like the knowledge of a fool. So here is the point he's making, that with my limited knowledge, wow, how can I ascertain you? How can I know about you? I cannot know you because you are beyond adokshaja. You are beyond the sense perception. Since like the knowledge of a fool, but even if despicable people like me do not know you, there is no loss for you. You remain unaffected by this. So he says that if I do not know about you, what is the loss for you, my dear Lord? You are avyayam. You are irreproachable. But you see me directly and praise me. You know that I am beyond Prakriti. Then why do you criticize yourself as being ignorant? So then he points out that why you are seeing me. Then why are you saying that you are ignorant? So then nato natyat dharoyata. He gives his explanation. No, I am like someone. I am just I am seeing a dance drama happening. I am not able to recognize exactly who you are, what is your attributes, what is your exact position. I cannot recognize you. So he says, though the dancer is endowed with rhythms and dance steps suitable to the rasa, the ignorant spectator, ignorant of the scriptures delineating performance, sees only a dancer dancing. So now many times we can observe this. Say, we go and then, so let's say you're going to do a drama. Drama is in Sanskrit. Okay? If you do not know the language, you do not know what is the exact subject matter is being discussed. You may see something, some fun you may know, but you will not know exactly the details of it. You do not know why this expression is done, or why this particular movement is done, why this particular dialogue is spoken in this place. You will not be able to understand because you do not know the particular signs. Are you able to get the point? So you may just see some nice program is going on, or so let's say we have just called let's say one wonderful veena player. Veena player is just playing some nice song. He's playing. You may know some nice song, something is being played, but the person who knows how to play the veena, he will know all the intricate subtleties of it. He will know why this particular movement, why this particular he has used this alankar here, why this he has done like this, why the movement is. Everything you will be able to understand because you know the rasa behind it, you know the art of it. So that's the point here is being mentioned here. Okay. So here the point is, even though Kunti can see and praise, she says, how can simple women like us know you? So that's the point. Her humility is expressed. She's the next verse we will see how she is really, we can see Kunti's prayers. These are all such profound words, wonderful prayer. She is able to use the choicest of words and then glorify. But she takes a very submissive role. She says that I'm a woman. How do I know about you? The great personalities, Paramahamsas, they are glorifying you. What can I know about you? Like that, she takes a very humble position. So let's go to the next verse. So is it clear? So nato natyat dharoyata. That's what he's trying to say. You are a dancer. How can I cannot know. It's not possible like that, she's saying. Okay. Tata paramahamsanam muninam amalatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartam katang pashyemahi striyah. You yourself desire to propagate the transcendental signs of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. So this is a definition that is given about these Paramahamsas. How then can we women know you perfectly? Prabhupada. Purport. Even the greatest philosophical speculators cannot have access to the region of the Lord. It is said in the Upanishads that the supreme truth The absolute personality of God is beyond the range of the thinking power of the greatest philosopher. He is unknowable by great learning or by the greatest brain. He is knowable only by one who has his mercy. Others may go on thinking about him for years together, yet he is unknowable. Any verse comes to your mind? Huh? Okay, any other verse? Yes, both this verse also. There is another verse I was thinking from Brahma Samhita. Yes, Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. How does that verse begin? Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adhyam Purana Purusham Navayavanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. So you might have just studied the scriptures so much. So Atma Bhakto, unless you become Atma Bhakto, you get the mercy. Okay. This very fact is corroborated by the queen who is playing the part of an innocent woman. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord and thus offer obeisances without reservation. The Lord is so kind that He does not show special favor only to one who is a great philosopher. He knows the sincerity of purpose. This is the whole key in this purpose. It's an amazing point. Prabhupada says, the Lord knows the sincerity of purpose. That's what He looks into. You may be a child, you may be a grown-up person, you may be a pandit, you may be a vanaprastha, you may be a sannyasi, you may be a brahmachari, you may be a vanachari, whatever you are. He looks at the sincerity of purpose, how sincere you are. And here Prabhupada points out that generally women are simple. They are not complicated. Traditionally they are very simple, and then they are easily they accept the spiritual practice. In the modern age things have become very complicated because of the idea of feminism and equal rights and trying to compete with men. Things have become very complicated. So that is completely another whole discussion. But general point that Srila Prabhupada is trying to drive here is that he is trying to say that women are more interested than the men. And we can see that's why he gives us example. Prabhupada continues. For this reason only women generally assemble in great numbers in any sort of religious function. In every country and in every sect of religion it appears that the women are more interested than the men. This simplicity of acceptance of the Lord's authority is more effective than showy, insincere religious fervor. So that's the whole point here. Religious inclination, religious approaches. Okay, so some of the points that I was just thinking that we can see here how she's not that she's. We can very clearly see that she herself takes a very simple position, puts herself on a very low note. She keeps herself very humble, because you cannot say that she is completely ignorant, because we can see right in this stotra so many words that she uses. She calls Krishna as Vishwatma. He is the actual soul of the entire universe. He calls Krishna as Kaivalyapati. He is the master of the monists also. And Vishwamurti also he calls. And we can also see she's able to identify the Lord as Krishna Saka. Krishna Saka refers to whom? He refers to Arjuna. And then we can see the next verse also, she is just glorifying, she is relating to Krishna as through his devotees. In the upcoming verses we will see. And Surarti also, that also happens. He is the protector of the Suras. So like there's so many words. So it's not that she is incapable. She doesn't know anything, or she takes, that's the qualification for her stotra to get into the Bhagavatam. Because she's humble, she's not proud. She says, Krishna, I'm your nephew, I know everything, I know about you. She didn't say anything like that. She says, my Lord, I don't have any qualification. I do not know. How am I going to know about you? What is it that I can glorify you? But we can see, this is the qualification that is required. That simple feminine nature. So Guru Maharaj, his oldest Bhakti-vaibhava Swami, he gave a talk called Bhakti is Feminine. Amazing analysis he did. He did in seeing that verse. How we need to be submissive. No, generally Bhakti is feminine means it's not a devotee. Generally is submissive to the authority of the Lord. So devotion is like that. We should have a. Prabhupada used to say, what's that? One should have the heart of a Prabha Vishnu Maharaj. He was saying that the final instruction I got from Prabhupada should have the heart of a Bengali mother and that of a courage of a Englishman or a British. So like that, even I think Prabhupada also sometimes when the devotees were distributing books or his approach for preaching, he spoke like that. He said that you have to be bold like an Englishman and then be simple like a Bengali mother in the heart. So that's a devotee has this. So the point is that we should not artificially try to lose our personality. Sometimes some people go to in that lecture. He does a very nice analysis. He says that people tend to become more artificial. They try to become like women itself, or they change their. So many madness and craziness are there. They want to change themselves to become like a woman. That's not the point. The point is that we should. In fact, what is the point? Krishna is the only male. Everyone else is female. That means what? He is the only Purusha. We are all Prakriti. But the problem is we are trying to imitate Purusha. So that has to be understood. So here we can see this excellent attitude of Kunti, her expression of humility. Otherwise, how she will not be. There is no way her name will be in the Bhagavatam. And we can see again and again all the great devotees of the Lord. They are expressing this great humility. This great humility we can see that's been characteristics of all pure devotees. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also in his prayers, what does he sing? Vishaya Durjana Sadakamarata Kichu Nahi Moragun. He has all the wonderful qualities, but he says that Durjana, Vishayi Durjana, I am just Vishayi. I don't have any good qualities. So that is, you can see those nice expressions. And also, we should also understand that a devotee is not a. People generally think that devotee means, or people who are taken to bhakti means they are all cowards, or they don't have any, they are not strong people. But that's not the case. Prabhupada once he quoted, actually you should not forget that the two great wars in history was fought by Vaishnavas were the victorious. So he gives the example of Hanuman and Arjuna. They were the kind of the heroes in both the wars, and they were all devotees of the Lord. This reminds me of one incident. Generally, there was one fellow in one of the temples in the US. He used to see devotees. He never liked the devotees somehow or other. So always he will used to make a mockery or give some trouble to devotees. Give them trouble. Sometimes he may throw some stone or some difficulty. He will always be creating. One day, what happened? Like this, it was happening. Similarly, the devotees were going peacefully. Then this fellow was creating so much trouble. He was throwing some stone and really trying to beat devotees. One devotee got really furious. He became so furious and angry, and then he really punched him and slapped him. And then this person who was doing this act, he said that devotees will also do such kind of things also. His heart completely got transformed. He thought that they are such a bold people, and then he joined the temple afterwards. He became a devotee. So now, what's the message? Message is that be bold and then go and punch few devotees. No, that's not the message. But the point that I'm trying to say is that devotees are, for the sake of the Lord, they will do anything. They will do any activity for the Lord. So here, it's a great expression of love by Queen Kunti. She is expressing that she is such a simple housewife, or she says that I am a simple lady. How can I know about the Lord? How can I glorify you? What do I know? But she is actually she is a Paramahamsa. She can know, she knew, she was able to see the Lord. In upcoming verses we will see the glory of the Lord. Okay. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavana, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. So she knows, see her, Kunti's devotion, expressing pure devotion, no doubt about that. Again, she is trying to approach the Lord, she is glorifying the Lord in connection with his pure devotees who are on the which platform? Even in a higher rasas. She is expressing the who are more affectionate, they are more fortunate, they are more affectionate, they are more dear to the Lord. So that's being expressed here. Yeah. And also Krishna is always loves his devotees, so she addresses Krishna with a specific name through his devotees. The Lord, thus being unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded and costless mercy, descends to the earth as he is in order to show his special mercy upon his unalloyed devotees and to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations, because in this particular incarnation he is more approachable. Are you getting the point what Prabhupada is trying to say here? Because there is no any official mood, there is no nothing tinged with Aishwarya. The Lord is so he is very he doesn't even remember his godness, although he is always aware of his godness, but he does not remember his godness. He thinks himself to be a simple village boy, and also the devotees approach him like that. So Prabhupada is making the point. In the Rama incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood, but in the incarnation of Krishna, although he was the son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother, King Vasudeva and Queen Devaki, just after his disappearance, and went to the lap of Yashodamai to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Vrajabhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. Therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Rama. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother Vasudeva and their family. Okay, a quick question for you here. If you see in this particular verse, she's starting with Krishnaya Vasudevaya, she says. Any hint, any clue why she is calling Krishnaya Vasudevaya? I mean, first thing.
Because he came.
The point is that actually Vasudeva is her brother. She says that, oh, you are my brother's son. So she is pointing out this. Okay. Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all other pastimes. Now you see here, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya. So if you see the gradation, Vasudeva, he is very affectionate, and Devaki is even more close. Why? Because mother is naturally more close to the child, more affectionate. And then Devaki Nandanaya, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, then again more intimate, Nanda Gopa. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, so again relation with Nanda Maharaj. Then Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary, he says that Mother Yashoda's name is not specifically mentioned here. Because, she said at this point of time, there's too much of ecstasy, she's holding it. I will speak about it little later, so she doesn't want to tell the name. So he says like that. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, we will come back to Govinda now. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited at Vrajabhumi, which are replicas of his eternal affairs in the original Krishna Loka, described as the Chintamani Dhamma in the Brahma Samhita. Okay, I'm just going a little down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda and his pastimes with the cowherd men and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows have caused him to be known as Govinda. Now also, somebody may question, why not? So the gradations are spoken, Nanda Maharaj's name is there, then why not about, then he is affectionate, he is very dear to the cows, Govinda is there. So when he said Govinda, it includes the Gopas as well. The Govinda means Krishna who gives protection to the cows, and he is always very dear to the cows. Also through the word go, there is also a hint about the Gopas and the Gopis. So, and also specifically she doesn't want to speak about that, tell about that because of the higher rasas, and not everybody will be able to understand and appreciate Krishna's intimate pastimes. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity. And there is another amazing thing here. Govinda, that glorification. Krishna likes himself to be in that service of taking care of the cows, playing in the mud, playing with the cow dung. Krishna loves that very much. And then we can see Krishna likes that, likes to be in that mood rather than being glorified by the prayers of the personified Vedas. We can see in the 10th canto, what's that wonderful verse? I'm sure some of you might have learnt it. Pashyanti yam yoginah. How does it begin? Yam Brahma Rudra Varnendriya Maruta Stunvanti Divyais Tamai Vedais Sanga Padakramo Upanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga. Then how does it go? Dhyana Vastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina. So all these great personalities are offering prayers, offering obeisances, great prayers. They are just glorifying us. The Shrutis are glorifying him, everything is glorifying him, but Krishna is more inclined to do what? Run behind the cows. He is more inclined to play with the calves. He is more interested in that muddy field. He is more interested in playing with the cow dung. That's what he is more interested in. That's what is. That's why here Kunti is addressing him as Govinda. It's interesting. Okay. Okay, just what can I just do one more verse and we'll just complete there. Okay. Now she also feels that I'm also fortunate because I'm able to see your beautiful form. So now in the next verse she is glorifying Krishna. What she's saying? Namah Pankajanaabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. Here are some of the specific symbolical marks on the spiritual body of the personality of Godhead, which distinguish his body from the bodies of all others. So here is another immediate hint for us. Someone claims himself to be God. Immediately look at his bodily features. His features are really ugly, but the Lord's features are so beautiful. It is so beautiful like the lotus. There cannot be any other better comparison than the lotus. The lotus is the most beautiful flower in this material world. So lotus comparison. That's why you can see often we can see in so many stotras in the glorification of the devotees. Always they glorify the Lord with the comparison with the lotus. So they are all special features of the body of the Lord. The Lord may appear as one of us, but he is always distinct by his specific bodily features. Srimati Kunti claims herself unfit to see the Lord because of her being a woman. This is claimed because women, Shudras and the Dvijabandhus, or the wretched descendants of the higher three classes, are unfit by intelligence to understand transcendental subject matter concerning the spiritual name, fame, attributes, forms, etc. of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Such persons, although they are unfit to enter into the spiritual affairs of the Lord, can see him as the Archa Vigraha, who descends to this material world just to distribute favors to the fallen souls. So the Lord, he descends as in the deity form as a Archa Murti, Archa Avatar, and for giving mercy to all the fallen souls. Because such fallen souls cannot see anything beyond matter, the Lord condescends to enter into each and every one of the innumerable universes as the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, who grows a lotus stem from the lotus-like depression in the center of his transcendental abdomen, and thus Brahma, the first living being in the universe, is born. Therefore the Lord is known as Pankaja Nabhi, from whose Nabha the Pankaja sprouts. The Pankaja Nabhi, Lord accepts the Archa Vigraha in different elements, namely a form within the mind, a form made of wood, a form made of earth, a form made of metal, a form made of jewels, a form made of paint, etc. All such forms of the Lord are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, and there should be a soothing atmosphere in the temple of worship to attract the burning attention of the non-devotees, always engaged in material wranglings. See, beautiful sentence of Prabhupada. So, what is so attractive? People in this material world are suffering because of this tapatraya. So much heat. We also hear, the cooling effect of the moon. Similarly, the Lord's beautiful form, when He is decorated with this wonderful Nama Pankaja Navaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, this Pankaja Mala on the Lord's beautiful form is all attractive. When the mind is agitated by so much of sense gratification, just stop all this nonsense, come to the temple, bow down to the Lord, offer obeisances to the deities, look at His beautiful form. Immediately, the heat created by the anxiety cools down. By what? Because by the glancing of the Lord. The Lord glances at His devotee. And when the Lord glances, immediately we cool down. This is the best way to cool us down. That's the beauty of the Lord's glance. And also, we can see Kunti is very happy because the Lord is glancing at her. She is also very happy with the Lord's glance. So Prabhupada points out here that the meditators worship a form within the mind. Therefore, the Lord is merciful even to the women, Shudras and Dvijabandhus, provided they agree to visit the temple worship in different forms made for them. Such temple visitors are not idolaters as allied by some men with a poor fund of knowledge. All the great acharyas established such temples of worship in all places just to favor the less intelligent, and one should not pose himself as transcending the stage of temple worship while one is actually in the category of the Shudras and the women or less. Why should we go to temple? God is everywhere. God is everywhere. No, so He is in temple also. Go and visit Him. Some many people give this big arguments. One conversation Prabhupada says, first you try to learn to see the Lord in the temple. Then you can think of seeing Him everywhere. Because we are conditioned. We cannot. Our mind is bewildered. Even when we come to the temple, there was one person who came to the temple. He looked at everything except for the deities. This architecture, that is very good. This paint, where you purchase. Oh, this, because he does not have any interest. But still, he gets so much mercy by looking at the form of the Lord. Okay. In fact, the point is that our understanding is that the Lord looks at us. Even we may try to look at the Lord, that is also good. But the Lord glances at us. Let us come in front of the Lord. Okay. Then what Prabhupada says in the purport. Then another amazing point Prabhupada says, Srimati Kunti, because of her being the aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord from the lotus feet because the Lord might feel ashamed. And thus Kunti Devi, just to save a painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above His lotus feet. That is, from the waist of the Lord, gradually rising to the face and then down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything there is in order. So the point is that, Krishna may feel a little uncomfortable because she is very elder to her, and then there is a rasa bhas when she starts looking at Krishna's feet. So she understood Krishna's mood and she started looking him from above, from the waist, she says. But generally, our understanding is that whenever we go and take darshan in the temple, what we do first, we start to look from the lotus feet. That's what we do. That's our situation. From the lotus feet, we gradually look at the beautiful form of the Lord. And we can see comparison of Krishna's various senses to the lotus. Lotus has got one other particular attribute. What is that? Lotus, it doesn't, although it is born from the mud, although it is in the water, the water doesn't touch it because it has got a coating. The water doesn't touch the lotus. You have observed that, right? The lotus doesn't stay. You put one drop of water also, it doesn't stay there. It falls down. Similarly, Krishna, who comes to this material world, he is unattached. He is not covered by the three modes. Although he appears here, he does all the wonderful activities, he performs various activities. He is not covered by the three modes. That's also one other point to think. And let's see what other points Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. I think we spoke about all these things. Yeah, and already Pankaja Netra, his glance is so cooling. That's the whole point. That's also we discussed. His glance is so it creates a cooling effect on the person. So that's why a devotee is so much enamored. He cannot resist himself. He continues to glorify the Lord. His mood is to give pleasure to the Lord, how to give enjoyment to the Lord. That is his mood. Rather, someone else's approach is how we can derive pleasure. Bhakti is completely, the whole concept is different in bhakti. The mood of bhakti is that how to give pleasure to the Lord, not that how we will derive pleasure. Actually, we do derive pleasure by giving pleasure to the Lord. There was one famous, not so famous, he was a father of one particular sect of Christianity. He's a Protestant group. He was they generally call him as Archbishop. So when once he was asked, what will you do when you go to heaven? You know what he said? He said that I will for 100 years serve the Lord. Then for the rest of the eternity I will enjoy this world. I will enjoy it independently. This is the understanding. There are many religions, they have no clue, no understanding of what is this bhakti, what is glorifying God, how eternally we get happiness by being in a constant position as servant of the Lord and giving happiness to the Lord. So that is the point. So I'll just stop here. We will continue with the rest of the prayers. If you don't mind, I would like to take some 2-3 minutes more, and if you have any questions also I would like to take. I just want to just quickly go through. I forgot while we were just at the beginning of the class. I wanted to share these divisions. So I just or we can also just go ahead as we go ahead with the verses. We will just see those divisions. Specifically, we classified it like this: who can see the Lord? Specifically speaks about the qualifications required to see the Lord in these verses, and also in that first thing she's speaking about offering obeisances. The Lord is not seen by everyone, He is invisible to all, although He is inside and outside, that she is addressing. And she says that as long as we are covered by the deluding energy of Maya, we will not be able to see Him. So we need to become qualified to see Him. What is our qualification? We need to become surrendered to the Lord, that she says. And also we should express our humility. Humility is what? She is by acknowledging the Lord is supreme and we are His eternal servants. In that way, taking a humble position. Kunti herself shows that she says that I do not know about you, my dear Lord. I am a simple lady, she says. Then the upcoming verses we can see that Kunti starts glorifying Lord in terms of His relation with the devotees. And then she starts glorifying the Lord's beauty. And then we will see the rest of the verses. She starts acknowledging and glorifying the Lord's protection He gives for His devotees. So the next 3 verses will deal with that. So today's last verse that we saw is how the Kunti is glorifying the Lord's beauty. So that's what we made. Verse 21, Lord's relationship with His devotees, and 22, the beauty of the Lord. And the next class we will discuss about how Kunti acknowledges Lord's protection during dangers. So rest of the divisions we will see later. So any questions or comments so far, whatever that we have seen? Any questions, comments, realizations?
In our Krishna consciousness movement,
yes,
we see many of our, not movement, in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, many acharyas, they were worshipping the deities. But here it specifically meant
good question, yes,
that
no, it's for the neophytes.
Neophytes.
Okay, so we should not. Okay, the question is in our Krishna. I mean, generally we see all great acharyas; they were all worshipping the deities. But on the other hand, we see that this deity worship is for neophytes. So the proper understanding is that we need to. So as an advanced devotee, he can see the Lord everywhere. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. So he has this ability to see the Lord everywhere, every moment he can see the Lord. Now, the advice that is given for the beginners is to first properly, according to the Shastras, worship the deities. The Lord is present in the deities, start worshipping the Lord. And in the beginning stage, a person may not be able to, even he will not be able to relate with the devotee of the Lord, he will not be able to see other things. So at the beginning stage, he according to the Pancharatra Vidhi, he does all the necessary things, he starts worshipping the Lord. So that's one thing. And then, again, a devotee has a clear understanding that the deity and the Lord, there is no difference. So that understanding is very clear. So a pure devotee, that's why we see almost all great acharyas, they all had their own personal deities, they were worshipping, they were doing puja. And in that way they were expressing their devotion to the Lord. So there is no contradiction there. At the same time, the beginner may not know. He may think that okay, the Lord is only present in this deity, and he will not be able to relate to other devotees. He will not be able to relate to other aspects of Krishna consciousness. So, and in the beginning, so we say that you just focus on this. So that's why there are different stages. One is called Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikaris. So based on their different levels, their understandings are much more. So that's why we see when a person is very advanced, there will be puja also happens in the temple, but the more importance is given for Harikatha. In the sense, puja also simultaneously goes, but when we ring the bell, why we don't ring the bell when Harikatha is going on? Because Harikatha is not different from this worship. So he has there's a higher understanding. So you don't blow the conch. So Shravanam, importance is given for Shravanam. So like that. So like that we understand that that doesn't mean that now somebody doing puja is inferior. In fact that purifies us so much, and that's what we all want to. We all want to worship the Lord. We also want to develop love for the Lord, and it's a very powerful process. That's why we have both the systems, the system of Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi. So these are some thoughts. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. We will meet again on Saturday. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.